baby. Well, I'm honored.
Looks like it might work this time.
Are we going through all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
If it works. We're gonna record it as well.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh wow.
So this is our episode 162 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And today we have Cordy Lee Williams, and you're coming in from California, and we are here in the beautiful state of Colorado. And per our typical interview style, we always ask our interviewee to share with us their chiropractic story and what influenced them to become a chiropractor. So if you could let us kind of know like how you got into chiropractic and where your career is today.
Yeah. So, I kind of have two interesting stories, right? And I say that because I believe that they're tied to chiropractic, but they're not like specifically tied to chiropractic, right? Because I believe that God has a plan for all of us, and our paths kind of like end up where we are. It's not, an explosion or anything like that. I don't believe that. I believe that, innate drives us. And for me, innate is Jesus. And so what happened is I got out of the Marine Corps in probably 2002. When I got out of the Marine Corps, prior to that, I would probably been on medications for 10 or 12 years. Okay. I was on Adderall, a class 3 narcotic, Lexapro, Prozac, and I'm on these medications for years, and I'm taking them for attention. I'm taking them for depression, anxiety, and get switched on, get switched off of one med. I mean, you know how it is. You titrate up. They literally put you on the max amount you can when you go back, because at some point it doesn't work anymore, right? Kind of tapers off, the effect of the med plateaus, and then they just give you more. When they can't give you any more beyond that recommended dose, they switch you on another one. So I got switched from Prozac to Wellbutrin. He didn't titrate me off of it. The general practitioner I went to in Nashville, Tennessee, did not titrate me off of it. He put me directly on another medication. And I went through 5 days of threatening to kill myself, seizures, convulsions, throwing up, everything you can possibly imagine. And, I kind of told this story at ChiroFest. I literally a couple of days later picked up Pastor Rick Warren's A Purpose-Driven Life. And a couple of days after that, after literally being on my knees and praying, God really showed up with this book by this guy named Bob Cooley. And I read the book. The book taught me a little bit about something called proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, PNF. And I took that, started getting certifications in Pilates, right? And all these different biomechanical kind of like movement pattern awareness things. And started working with NFL athletes because I teamed up with a chiropractor named Dr. Michael Hatrack. And I took all the knowledge I had and I developed something called functional resistance stretching. He was a chiro, and teamed up with him, loved chiropractic. I'm like, well, I don't want to be a PT. I don't want to give old people like weights and teach them how to do exercises. Then that needs to happen. It just wasn't my thing. And so I said, what's this chiropractic thing? And honestly, guys, I didn't know what it was. I mean, I was the guy that was sitting in classes and had no clue about the principle. And, I'm sure you guys know Dr. Peter Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Morgan invited me on my first mission trip. And I was like 4th or 5th quarter at Life University in Marietta. And I went on his mission trip. I didn't know how to adjust there, right? Didn't know anything, but I go on the mission trip. I buy the Astrolight tables that weigh like 5 pounds, but they charge you like $600 for them. And I take my Astrolight there, and my buddy, Dr. Ron Sinagra, was there. And I can't tell you how many miracles happen on these like mission trips. Like I cannot tell you how many miracles happen. And I was already friends with Dr. Ron at that prior to the mission trip, because Dr. Ron's always been a family friend. And but literally, I saw Dr. Ron share his heart about a miracle that he had seen that day. And that, along with several speakers, and also being taught how to adjust at that mission trip, and putting my hands on people and putting my hands on their brainstem I was like, holy crap. I get why all these guys are standing from stage and raving about innate intelligence and the subluxation and the principle, because I could totally see how it changes lives. And that was really the turning point for me. So it's kind of a dual story. Just kind of stepping in off of medications was, Jesus, in my opinion, and this functional resistance stretching thing. And then if it hadn't been for that and Dr. Hatrack, I never would have found the principal. I never would have found Dr. Ron. And yeah, that's my story. So not as romantic as some, I didn't like necessarily have an adjustment that kind of moved me towards there, but I think innate was there all along, and I'm here because of it.
But it's gritty and it's real.
Yeah,
and I think that
absolutely.
that's something that people need to hear, is like, not everything's like, oh, I had this, like, whatever other people's narrative may be. And I think that you sharing your truth with people, somebody's going to be listening to this and they're going to be like, wow. So putting an outside in source into my body doesn't make me healthy.
Yeah. Shocker, right?
And if I go see that other type of doctor, that's what they're going to do. And I think that understand the chiropractic where you are today, 7 years in practice, and coming out of the military, I'm sure you didn't really understand like what solutions there were for you to get healthy. And I think that people think that once they get put on medication, that's just like their jam, and that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I hope, and not to get on COVID necessarily during our talk, but I hope the last few months of this situation that we're in gets people to kind of think about like, wow, like what is immunity? How do our systems work? How does real health work? And is there a mask or a medication or a potion, lotion, or duct tape that will help me with my health, or is it my responsibility? It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah. So one of the questions we also ask people is like, do you have any motivational quotes or mantras that you follow to keep you motivated and fired up as a chiropractor?
Yeah, that's so funny. I don't know that I necessarily have a quote more than I do like songs and things that motivate me. Which I'm just going to list all of them, because for me, when I need to get charged up, recharge my batteries, I have a whole like cycle or thing that I do, right? Like, cause I think as far as the quote, the intention of you asking that is really behind like what motivates me and moves me past like the good and the bad of practice life. Like, why do I love what I do? Right. Is that kind of like the baseline? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, cause I didn't want to not answer the question. Right. But for me, it's songs really move me. Right. Like I'm really moved by songs. Like I can literally I could listen to a song with you, and if it hits me the right way, I'll just start bawling right on a Facebook Live. Like that's who I am. Right. Like two songs that are really like moving me right now is there's a 2010 song by Kid Rock called Born Free. And there's a part of the lyrics in the middle of the lyrics where it talks about, you can knock me down, you can make me bleed, but you won't put these shackles and chains on me. I was born free. And he says it way more eloquent, and it just jams, and it just hit me. It was like, holy crap. Like that's where we are right now with our freedom. Right. So every morning when I wake up, before I go to the office, I try to get something that hits me that hard, like that heavy. Maybe it's praying about my kids. Maybe it's thinking about like a patient that came in the day before that had a miracle, and it's always one of those things. It's like, oh my God, I thank you so much. I can stand taller, and I'm, this and that. And my digestion got better. I haven't slept for 20 years and now I'm sleeping again. And I just take those stories, and in the morning I meditate on them. I'll do some breathing around it. I'll pray on it. And that really gets me centered. If I had a quote for me, and it's not my quote, and I don't even know if I'm going to give Brad Glowacki credit, one of my influences and mentors. And I don't know if it's Dr. Glow's quote or not, but done is better than perfect. Cause I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. So one of the things that my consultant and dear friend Chris Lippy always taught me is, you know, as a perfectionist, I'll tell somebody to do something and I'll expect them to walk in a linear line and do it, right? That's kind of like a Marine Corps thing. But what if they go to the left and then they zigzag to the right and then they go back to the left and they still are able to accomplish the same goal? Like, that's all we want. And really just like laying off the gas to allow that. So one of my big, I don't know if you would call it quotes, but maybe mantras would just be like kind of getting out of my own way and just allowing God to lead my life versus me trying to constantly like control it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. I think spirituality is so important to ground ourselves with. And, it's important to, you have those cases that you take care of and that you see people's lives improving. And there's so much value for restoring somebody's life to them. And I think that's why so many chiropractors get into the profession, because they want to help people.
Yeah.
And I think that baseline analysis of what chiropractic really stands for is being a servant and helping people. So when you can meditate on that and you can put your breath work into that, and you know that you restored somebody's quality of life to them, that's outcome. And that's really what people come to a chiropractor for. It's not because they're like, hey man, can you turn my innate intelligence on?
Yeah.
They're like,
right.
they're like, hey man, can you help me with this thing right here? Because it's really sucking. And I need
Yeah.
somebody to help me.
Right here, right?
And somebody said I should come see you.
Yeah. The classic line is, I don't know why I'm here, but Janice told me to come. Right. And then 5 days later, or the person that walks in, what's even better, Jim, is the person that walks in and they literally say that they have no symptoms. And then you walk in with them and there's like 20 things, right? There's 20 things. Or they say they have no symptoms and their abnormal became their new normal and their new way of being. And they don't know any other way of living. So until that 10th adjustment, they're like, holy SHIT, I can sleep better. I'm like, of course, when you have kids, you spell out swear words, right? But so I can sleep better. Things are like better in my life. I'm communicating better. My relationship's better. Like, I mean, those are the juicy things that like give me fuel when a relationship improves, when like a dynamic improves between, and of course we all know, I mean, I don't know about other docs out there, but 70% of my practice is women, right? And it's not because I'm cute. It's because like women are the ones that put their health first. And men are always on the back burner, right? That's why we die earlier, guys. We're just grinding, man. And there's a lot of women that grind, and it's called parenting. Staying at home with my 2 terrorists all day is enough to drive anybody crazy, right? Which I love my boys, but man, you clean up baby poop and the whole deal, man. If you got kids, you know how it is. It's like you got to be a Marine just to handle that. But Jim, I got you cracking up, Jim. I love it, bro.
So how do you think the world would change if everyone got under chiropractic care consistently?
I love that question. I was actually talking about this to patients yesterday and maybe even today. I talk about it regularly. Well, think about a world where it's like Galatians 5:32, the fruits of the Spirit: joy, kindness, peace, love. And I don't like I'm a neurotic person. Okay, I'm a neurotic person. Ask my wife, Dr. Tanya. Okay, I have that in the first bathroom in our office because I constantly have to remind myself of that. Like, done is better than perfect. And so what I try to tell patients is, when I adjust you at your brainstem, that stimulates dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. That stimulates the love chemicals. That stimulates the I want to be a better person and I want to express who I really am, and I want to become more aware of who I am in this journey or evolution we call life. And if everybody got adjusted, imagine every single human being on the planet, however many billions there are. I don't know what the last estimate was or stat on that. And everybody's operating from the realm of, this is a journey, because I believe we're spiritual beings living in a physical body. So this is a journey, and I get my brainstem rocked, and I'm more aware and accountable to be cause in the matter of my life. And I have choice. I'm not a victim. And that adjustment resets that. It's a new opportunity every day for people to start over fresh and realize, doesn't matter what I didn't do yesterday, what am I doing today? And what do I want to accomplish going forward? And so if everybody got adjusted, I feel like everybody would be able to have a clean slate, and they would be able to silence the monkey talk and the condemnation and what I call, with the personal growth that I do, the already always listening, and those blind spots they have in their life that from 5 years old, they're telling them they're not good enough and they suck and all that. And you'd be able to turn on, and because I'm a Christ follower, right? Like I should have the shirt that says I'm a Christian, but I cuss a lot, right? And you get adjusted, and it's a new opportunity. It's a new opportunity every day. So I think you'd have a world of openness and awareness.
Yeah, I think BJ Palmer called it utopia.
I love it, baby. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I can't follow up on that because anything the Godfather said, man, I'm just like, I'm like that. So,
But you are right. And when people are functioning at a higher capacity, there's less infirmary and sickness, and there's less self-doubt, there's less depression. And you said something earlier, is like when you make a impact on somebody's life with an adjustment and they become a better parent, that's a relationship that you've improved.
yeah.
And when you get somebody more active, and they, like, I've always heard that, hey, do you want to play with your kids more? Do you want to play with your grandkids? Well, when you can provide that service to somebody and you allow them to do that, and you take the pain of the shackle off them, that they were in bondage of like discomfort and immobility, and you restore them back to functionality. I mean, that is BJ Palmer's utopia.
You know what I think? It just came to me because I was actually kind of getting emotional as you were saying that, because I was thinking about that, right? I close my eyes when I adjust, and I visualize where the bone's going to go. And I was just thinking about, I think the greatest thing that an adjustment does is it gives people presence. So it allows people to just stop all the hustle and bustle of this toxic piece of SHIT, right? Which we need to throw all these in a river somewhere, or the ocean, right? And it allows us to just say, what's working today? Like I was sitting after the rally today, and I was literally with my son, and I'm taking in the air, and I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. I just got totally present, and I'd been adjusted. My wife adjusted me earlier in the day today. And I was able to just sit back amongst everything that was going on and realize nobody looks like they're going in to do heart surgery right now. And people are laying on the ground in this park, no masks on. There's like 75 people. And what about all the people that aren't in the park enjoying that level of freedom? What if we could adjust everyone and they got that level of presence that everybody in that park had, about just appreciating humanity? And I mean, I just got that when I was sitting in the park. I was like, holy shnikes, this is like cool, man. We gotta share this chiropractic thing with as many people as possible.
Well, you said something a few times about your wife being a chiropractor too. Let's talk about the uniqueness of that, of having a union of marriage, and both of you guys are DCs.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why a lot of married docs have different adjusting times, or they have different areas of the office. I got lucky though, because I'm so neurotic. My wife hates working with me. She's admitted it, because I want it done a certain way, and that's not necessarily the way that she wants to do it. And so, God gave us these two beautiful children that when they're not beautiful, they're being terrorists, right? And she wanted to be a home mom, basically. She wanted to like raise those kids. So she's not really in the office that much. I mean, she'll fill in here and there. And then you always get, which it's always fun, hey, Dr. Tanya does this. Can you do that? Can you do it the way Dr. Tanya does it? But it's cute. My wife though, She is an amazing mom. She's an amazing doctor, like amazing, unbelievable. And her energy, like in my wife's adjustments, I feel like you can feel my love, but you can also feel my passion and intensity. And with my wife's adjustment, it's just all love, man. It's just like when she touches you, it's just like you feel like her hands are like, she's like a duckbill platypus, right? You just feel like her hands are just going into your body, like she's reaching into your soul or something, She's like, thanks, honey. You were on Facebook Live and you compared me to a platypus. I said your hands, only your hands. But no, she's an amazing doc. But we probably practiced together like really regularly for like a year and a half. And then it pretty much, it was hashtag mom and dad life. Because literally when we moved from a small space, it was like a 600 square foot space, like really tiny. And it was above a bar. So they would drain, when patients came by in the morning, they would literally drain the toilets, and you could smell that beautiful odor when a sewer company drains the toilets. It was really nice. And then I'd do doctor's reports and there would be salsa music going on. Merengue, there'd be merengue going on. It would bump the walls when I was doing the doctor's report. So we were in there for about a year. And then the night before we transition into our new building, which is 2,500 square feet, she's like, oh yeah, babe, by the way, I'm pregnant, right? It's like the day we're going to open the following day. She's like, yeah, honey, I'm pregnant. But yeah, so that kind of ended, I think she maybe practiced 7 months into little Cordy, my first son. And then we kind of went where I primarily ran the office, and she was home mom.
Mama Proctor.
Is that what you, full-time mama Proctor? Yeah. I don't know. So, I don't know what you call that, but.
So where do you see the profession heading in the next 20 years?
Well, I'm an optimist, but certainly the situation with this COVID thing that is going on right now for our viewers, whenever they're going to end up listening to this podcast, there's a lot of people that are showing up and a lot of people that aren't. And that's a hard question to answer because, I would expect the tenacity and the tenaciousness of like, this is our moment. This is a chiropractic moment. Like I feel like the moment right now around COVID is very much like all the chiros that came before us that got jailed for practicing. And there's a small percentage of the profession that's rising to this occasion or rising to this moment. And so I would be very, very negative if I used the data right now to give you an answer to that question. But overall, I think we need to step out of mediocrity and step into what you said before, Jim. And I mean, you said it beautifully because, that Thomas Edison quote of being that doctor of the future. And by doing that, we have to be bold. We can't, which relates back to this situation. You can't cower in fear that you're going to get your license pulled and A, B, and C, and D are going to happen. And, oh my God, the sky is falling. And, honestly, I'm probably going to get into politics. For that reason, not only to advance chiropractic, but to advance the United States. And so, I think there needs to be a lot more chiropractic politicians who are actively involved in the game, because state boards are great, right? That stuff's great. They tell you in school, join your state board, do this, do that. But I mean, come on, the guy at the table is always the one making decisions about policy. If you're not at the table, I mean, what are you doing? Right. And so I think the profession is going to survive the next 20 years where it's headed. So that's hopeful. But I think there's a lot that we have to do to step out of mediocrity. I mean, there's just no way I can answer that because we're mediocre right now. I mean, we really are. We're mediocre. We have not done a good job of mobilizing. There's constant infighting. There's people that drag each other down and bitch at each other. And, it's like a bunch of little schoolgirls a lot of the times. And if we could find our commonalities and not our differences and agree to some things. And the struggle too is within the infighting, the people that control the narrative around where the profession goes from a ideological perspective are very much of a medi-practor. I mean, they're just, you can't even call them a chiropractor. They might as well have an MD behind their name, right? And so, yes, you could say if we could, and some people may comment below and say, hey, what is this guy wearing the backwards hat? What the hell does he know? But, I think if we could really influence the school systems with more of a foundation of what chiropractic is, and also like, I would love to see somebody third, fourth quarter where the schools just said, screw it, go Harriet Tubman, Underground Railroad, and get as many kids as you can to these mission trips. Seriously. Because it wasn't a class that I sat in on that gave me the principle. It was a mission trip. And then people get, oh, well, about this adjusting and they're not getting adjusted. People get so like, guys get so almost juvenile about the weirdest things, right? I remember when I went on a mission trip, well, are you qualified to adjust and this and that? And could you hurt them? And maybe there's some, maybe that's a reasonable like concern, right? But that's maybe 1% of the time. I can tell you there's so many loving kids that go out to these mission trips. They're learning how to adjust. The thousands of people that they're seeing miracles. These people, when I went on mission trips, they were just, they're coming up hugging you, they're crying. It's the most beautiful thing.
Well, Luke tells me this all the time. 90% of what we're afraid about never happens.
I love that. It's so true, right? Like that's the basis of depression and anxiety, isn't it? Like a lack of presence. And so you're depressed and anxious because you're worried about that 95% or that 99% of the unknown. Oh, this might happen, the what ifs.
And one of my mentors, Ed Osborne, he always, in his podcast, A Chiropractic Philanthropist, he'd always say, hey, Doc, we're all more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
And the commonalities that hold chiropractic together is the adjustment.
Yeah.
And I think that if we really focus on that commonality, the adjustment supersedes any philosophy. And the adjustment supersedes any dogmatic approach of what school you went to.
Yeah.
And if we can just find common ground for the adjustment in chiropractic, then chiropractic thrives. And it is not mediocre. Because when people go to the chiropractor, what do they want? The number one thing they want, man, they want the adjustment. That's
a good point. And maybe within that commonality, because I appreciate you saying that, because you're right. Because everything that I'm saying looks great on paper and it's very romantic and cute, right? But that doesn't necessarily, you're not going to tell somebody that believes that chiropractic is for neck pain, back pain, and car crashes, that you're never going to get them to believe that, subluxation and innate are real in all likelihood, right? It'd be like taking somebody that's a vaccine person and getting them to believe in anti-vax, right? Or somebody that is this political affiliation and you want them to move over to this side. And so I love that. Maybe the commonality is, well, let's look at all the research on neurology and the neurology related to an adjustment. And how that whole cycle works. I remember in Matt McCoy's class when I was in school, we did all this research on what happens from the time that you adjust, what's the internal process. And oh my God, all the different processes behind the amygdala and cerebellum. I can't even remember all of it. We had to do a presentation. It was like, oh my God, right? It was like it's one of those things, but absolutely amazing when you look at all those different parts and processes that it stimulates. And so maybe getting that conversation out there, getting it a little louder, getting it more simplified, maybe that would be a way of bringing people together. Because how can the mechanistic guys deny that?
Well, bro, the first book ever written in chiropractic is called The Chiropractic Adjuster.
Yeah, true. True. Totally true. Absolutely, bro.
And
I
if
love
I
it.
go to the chiro,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're going to find the real philosophical people be like, well, I checked and they didn't need to get adjusted.
Yeah.
But, whenever I go see a doc, I'm like, hey, man, can you check and can you
Yeah.
adjust me?
Yeah.
Because that's really what turns our lights on. Like you were saying on the other interview we did, like when people come in and you check that brainstem and you adjust that C1 or C2 and you restore their functionality and they start seeing better and they start sleeping better, like the adjustments like the primary and everything else is your philosophy of how you were raised in the tribe you run with.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get a little too dogmatic, and that's the point I was trying to, make earlier. And then I think I went on a tangent or a rant or something. Like for example, I wore a Marine Corps dress blues like blouse to the first couple of rallies, okay, that we did, and I had only two, which I was surprised by, but there were only two veterans that reached out to me, former Marines, and they're like, "How dare you, dishonor that uniform that way?" And I didn't reply because internally it's like I wanted to give them I'm going to give you guys the ring finger. But I mean, that's basically what I wanted to do. And I'm like, dude, I served 4 years in the Marine Corps. I'm wearing this as a statement so people know that there are veterans attached to this movement, right? And I'm not hurting the uniform. Yes, I'm not wearing it by military code, but I'm not in the military anymore. And you have no clue what my respect level is for that uniform. So shut up. Right. And I think so many times we get a little dogmatic about, how we're adjusting, when to adjust, stuff like that. And some guys are probably going to comment below and hate me, and maybe I'll get some hate mail later. I don't really care. But I can tell you that when a baby comes in with an ear infection and I try to do a sustained contact and nothing changes, or when I go against some of the guidelines that are out there and I give a real soft manual manipulation, right? Not rotation, but just a lateral force in there. And I know there's so many docs that would agree with me, including my friend, Dr. Ron Sinagra. I'm sure Billy DeMoss would agree with me as well. And you give that lateral force in there, that ear infection goes away like that. I mean, it's instantaneous. So we're going to say then, related to the brainstem, if somebody comes in with thoughts, traumas, and toxins, right? They come in depressed and you noticed on a Wednesday that they're different than they were on a Monday. But you look at some graph or you do a scan on them or you're checking an old x-ray or whatever, maybe you take a new x-ray, that says not to adjust them. You don't think that adjustment up here is going to totally take the thoughts, traumas, and toxins and kind of shift and shake up things? I don't know. I think, and I mean, there are times I don't adjust in the pelvic hip region, but there's never been a time that I haven't adjusted above C3. I mean, just like 99% of the time, I'm always able to find something on a leg check, on a film, and then up here by the brainstem. I mean, 99% of the time. And, the upper cervical guy is probably somebody's going to hate out there, but whatever. I mean, that's just innately what I believe. I mean, and hell, I get adjusted 5 times a week.
Well, here's the beautiful thing, Dr. Cordy, is the chiropractor also signs a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. And you are a doctor. So your interpretation of how to take care of your patient base is based on your doctorate degree and your ability to run a practice in a clinic. And I think that that's sometimes how people misinterpret how to judge their own type is, hey, Dr. Cordy's taking care of his patients.
Yeah. Valid point. And, it's kind of like, it'd be so nice if we would respect that individual, like kind of decision to react on what you're seeing clinically at that moment in time without judgment. I was talking to my sister-in-law this morning and she posted something on Facebook and got just like attacked, like destroyed. And I'm always fascinated by that because it's like, okay, well, if you don't like what I wrote, don't comment on it. Like I put it out there, it wasn't for you. It was for the people. Because I mean, most people just want to share their experience. They're not looking because you're not going to change what someone believes. You're just not going to. You can drop seeds and you can be gentle and you can kind of sprinkle. But I mean, I wish we would do that in chiropractic related to philosophies and viewpoints around techniques, adjustments, when to adjust, things of that nature. And just, hey, you have your own clinical experience. To your point, you are a doctor, your patient's different, and that patient's history. Just let that doc handle that situation the way they want to. Let them have that freedom to do that.
Professional respect.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So tell us some of your favorite marketing tactics. Like if you have a message you need to get out there, what's your ace in the hole? Like this is gonna work.
Yeah, I really like. Well, I wouldn't say there's one thing. I'd say related to like mobile, if we're talking about like mobilizing practice members to get them to come in or do something. Oh man, well, what we've kind of figured out for our culture is we can only do one event a month. We can only do one event a month. Because if we do multiple in-office events, they get confused. They show up on the wrong date. It's just anarchy, right? Even if we do calendars, like we'll have these neat, beautiful calendars. We used to do this years ago. And then I'm like, no, we're going to do one event a month. When we do that one event a month, what it takes us, what we have to do to mobilize everybody is we have to put flyers up in multiple places. We have to hand out flyers. We have to talk about it daily. And then we basically have to do weekly text message reminders. And then I'll usually do like one Facebook Live. Like we have to hit it. It's like an avalanche of stuff to get the message out. When we do that though, we have a really high success rate. We'll probably get, I don't know, 30 plus people at any event that we do. Okay. Which, based on, you never do stuff on Friday nights. Nobody's going to show. Don't do it on a Monday night. So that leaves you a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday. I mean, from what we've seen for our culture. So yeah, I think the go-to would be, if I had to pick two things out of that, definitely text messages and definitely like Facebook Lives. Like if you're a good communicator, you're a solid communicator, really being able to link and throw in a link. And I use Review Wave. I've used all of them and I'm not, I like Matt, he's my buddy, but maybe it is a shameless plug for Matt too. Not like he needs my plug, but, what we'll do is we have our website linked to our Facebook. So when I do a live, it goes straight to the website. So my cutie bears over like 65 that they're like, how do you do a Facebook? Where's the posting? I can't figure this out. Right. Then we just have a little link. We can send it in and it's a link to the website and they can go on my front page and it literally shows them whatever I want them to know. They can get it right there on the front page of the website.
That's
versus
awesome,
having,
man.
what's that?
Tech talk equals TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
So I know your kids keep you pretty busy, but when you have downtime, what kind of books do you read? Podcasts do you listen to? Hobbies?
Yeah. So Brendan Bouchard, love Brendan Bouchard, Grant Cardone. All right. The 10X. And I saw you, my 10X man over there. I saw him and I'm going to go next year. By the way, I bought the, it's funny though. I had like 20 friends go to that conference in Vegas and they all loved it. They all loved it. And I bought his deal. I've only seen one of them because I bought it right as the COVID thing got hot. And then, I mean, you know how it is for a while there, you're like, oh crap, what else is going to happen next? Okay. It's 50 people. Now it's 25 people. Now it's 10. Now you got to wear a face condom. Right. And you're like, what do I do? The sky's falling. Right. So Brandon Bouchard, Grant Cardone, definitely the Bible, 100%. I read scriptures every morning. What else do I do to clear my mind? Probably, honestly, this is going to be bad. People aren't going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyways. I'm raw and real. Sometimes the best thing for me at the end of a day, after I put the kids to bed, man, I'll wake up, get a glass of wine, sit on the couch by myself, and I watch some violent movie just to like totally numb my mind, just to like zone out, right? Just to zone out. We don't have news, so I don't watch the fear porn or anything. I just watch some fiction, right? But in the morning, it's all about mindset. So I really enjoy Brendon Burchard, Grant Cardone. I've got tons of books. I try to read books, but I read research so often that I'm just so much better with audiobooks. So much better with audiobooks. So I'll just do audiobooks like Biology of Belief. I mean, that's one I've done in the past with Bruce Lipton. I have his hardback as well. I really like just anything on stats, research. I like Jack Wolfson's stuff, paleocardiologist. I've got his book. And what I'll do is I'll read 2 chapters and then I'll put it on the shelf and then I'll end up buying the audiobook. That's what always happens. So I've quit buying like hardbacks, but primarily right now what I'm on to is Brendon Burchard. I'm like, I don't know, 80% through that. I just do like 1 chapter a morning, basically.
So let me ask you a couple bonus
Yeah,
questions.
go ahead.
Let's do some quick hits.
I love it, baby.
If you had a chance to talk to a 4th quarter chiropractic student, what's the number 1 piece of advice you'd give them?
Experience every coaching group you possibly can. Like really experience it, like try it out. See what you like from their day 1 to their doctor's report to actually showing films, x-rays, all that. Experience that. And then get to as many sales NLP type classes as you possibly can to learn about a sales conversion cycle and to learn about how to talk to people. That's really important because, in chiropractic, like most of the management companies, everybody just passed crap down and now they're like rehashing it. So you can learn about sales, but there's so much of it that is a model that is very transactional versus Socratic. And the buyer now is really smart. So the buyer now is very Socratic, right? Meaning they want you to listen. They want you to ask questions. They're moved by emotion. They're not moved by logic. So if you're, giving them a car salesman type of deal, right? And you're trying to sell the car that they don't want versus finding out what they want. Well, I like leather interior. I'm looking for a hatchback. I'd like it to have the AC. I'd like it to have the cute little iPod insertion point there and a USB right here. And you're trying to sell them a monster truck that has, right. You're trying to sell them a jacked up truck with Dick CPEC rims and it's got cloth interior. You're not meeting them where they're at. You're not finding out what their needs are, and you're selling them. You're trying to sell them a product that they don't want. So I think those were the biggest growth pains that we had our first couple of years is learning that it can't be a transactional model. And every market, in my opinion, is different. I think every market is different. So are there nuances that are the same? Yes. But the way you deliver the message and the way another doc delivers the message are different. And then your buyer's different. So yes, you can practice chiropractic anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter if it's a big city. It doesn't matter if it's a rural area, but you also have to know your target audience, in my opinion.
So last question I have for you. Who are your chiropractic heroes and who are your mentors?
Love it, man. Easy peasy. There's so many, so I don't want to leave anybody out. Are we talking present or from school to now or just now or all of it?
Just give us what's top of mind to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you the whole list then, because I don't want anybody to get mad at me. Right. So let's start off in school. Okay. In school, Dr. Guy Reekman, Dr. Gilles Lamarche, Dr. Dennis Cerrone, Dr. Mike Hatrack, Danny Gambino, Norm Colby, Eric Plasker, Jay Hand, Ron Sinagra. Well, it's a pretty big list, but that would probably be the core. Hopefully I'm not leaving anybody out. I'm thinking back to every beer I ever had at seminars, right? Basically is what I'm thinking back to. And now, kind of since being out of school, Dr. David Dick had a big impact on me. Ray Omid. Well, and Dr. Ray's been huge. He's been a family friend forever. And so he was definitely involved in my development and Tanya's development. Who else while we were in school? Yeah, Dr. Ray. Dr. David Dick, Dr. Tony, Dr. Roger Sahori. And now the biggest non-chiropractors now, right? Like, Chris Lippy's been a huge influence of mine. Chris Lippy, Brad Glowacki, Bill DeMoss, huge influence, and Paul Reed for sure. So, yeah, guys. So kind of given, I gave you a lot of names there, but they've all had a really big impact on me for sure.
That's awesome, man. We love how authentic and real you've been with us tonight. And it's been a real honor to hold you down for a couple hours and to talk about freedom on our earlier show, and now talk about your story a little bit and your vision of the profession. And it's been great to weave this narrative together with you.
Yeah, well, you guys are beautiful, beautiful dudes, and I'm honored to be on the show. And any way I can ever help your mission, let me know, because I really believe in what you guys are doing for the profession.
So what are a couple of websites or social media links you can give us if people want to find you?
I love it, baby. Well, I'm going to do the first one first. I got to do this one, got to blow it up. So right here. And even though this is a different podcast number, hopefully you don't mind, Jim, 1776 Forever Free. Okay. And this was the first shirt. This isn't what the shirts look like now. So relax. I was going to go live at the Capitol with Del Bigtree. And we had, like, this guy had 3 days to get us some semblance of a shirt of what we wanted done. So he did the best he could. So this logo is a little faded. Your shirt won't be like that. But www.1776foreverfree.com. You can purchase a shirt, which will help our movement forward. And Chris Lippy and I started the organization. It's all about choice. It's all about freedom. And it's all about leadership. And that's really, this organization's just not going to be here for COVID. And when COVID's gone, we want it to last forever. I mean, it's something we're putting our blood, sweat, and tears into. The only thing I would say, since we're live right now too, is got a big event, May 23rd at the Capitol, Sacramento, 12 o'clock, Adolph Newsom's backyard. We got Kofi Anderson, country music singer. We got him, we got Buzz Patterson, and probably about 1 million people. There you go, Dr. Bill. I did it, baby. I did it. Dr. Bill's making me go big. He's like, go big or go home, dude. So we're going to get 1 million people there. And then Dr. Cordy Lee Williams. So Cordy Lee Williams, DC, my Facebook, Cordy Lee Williams, DC, Dr. Cordy on Instagram, Dr. Cordy W on Twitter. Share, like the crap out of it. Share and like the crap out of the scoop video. And then any questions you have about chiropractic or anything, whether you're a student or, another doctor, I'm just, I feel blessed and honored to be able to help anybody. Absolutely.
Awesome, brother. Well, we want you to have a good night with your family. I know the sun's down, and we want you to go be dad. Okay.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. We'll probably be watching Blue's Clues in a little while. So if you want me to do a live so you guys can enjoy it, if you get bored, let me know.
Yeah, host a watch party.
Yeah, a watch party, Blue's Clues. Absolutely. I love it, bro.
Well, Cordy, it was really nice getting a chance to talk to you. And thank you for being our guest tonight.
My pleasure. Love you both. God bless you guys. Have a good night.
You
All
too.
right, man. We'll talk to you
See you
soon.
later.